This is not a portrait, it's a confrontation. In 1840, a young, unknown artist named Gustave Courbet painted a scream, not with his mouth, but with his eyes, his hands, and every frantic brushstroke. This is the desperate man. And with it, a revolutionary was born, not through a political manifesto, but through a raw, unvarnished, and terrifyingly honest look into his own soul. The man staring back at us is Gustave Courbet, a provocateur who rejected formal training. Instead, he taught himself in the Louvre, studying the old masters. One lesson stuck: the power of chiaroscuro, the violent clash of light and shadow used by 17th century masters like Rembrandt and Ribera to reveal the soul's drama. Courbet didn't just learn their technique, he learned their mission: to use light not to flatter, but to expose profound human truth. To understand the desperate man, we must see it as part of Courbet's lifelong diary in paint. Just before it, he painted Self-Portrait with a Black Dog. Here, he's the romantic wanderer, confident, even fashionable. This was his acceptable face, the one the Paris Salon actually accepted. It's the man he was supposed to be. And just after, we see the wounded man. Here, despair becomes a physical wound. He paints himself as a fallen romantic hero, bleeding from a broken heart. It's a theatrical, almost literary kind of suffering. The desperate man exists between these two personas. It has no costume, no story, no sword. The wound is entirely psychological. It strips away the romance and the narrative, leaving only the raw, modern nerve of panic. It is, in essence, a self-portrait with nothing but the self. So how does he achieve this brutal honesty? First, the composition. He uses a tight, horizontal frame, unconventional for a portrait, making his face and clawing hands inescapable. Second, the lighting. He weaponizes the chiaroscuro he learned from Rembrandt. A harsh, interrogating light from the upper left bleaches his knuckles and brow, while his eyes sink into shadowy pits. This isn't portrait lighting, it's the light of a police station or a waking nightmare. And third, the brushwork. This is where he breaks from the past. The old master's surfaces were often smooth. Courbet's is a turbulent terrain. The paint is thick, slashed on with urgency. You can see the frantic energy of the moment fossilized in the impasto. The plain, dark background offers no refuge. The entire universe of this painting is the storm inside his head. This painting sits at a historic pivot point. Its emotional intensity is pure romanticism, like the fiery dramas of Delacroix. But its subject, an unidealized, contemporary man in a state of ugly crisis, is the seed of realism. Courbet would soon paint monumental canvases like A Burial at Ornans, elevating ordinary life to the scale of history. The Desperate Man is the personal, interior prequel to that public revolution. It's the moment the artist turns the microscope on himself before turning it on the world. Courbet's true progeny are the artists of the inner life. Decades later, Edvard Munch would paint The Scream, externalizing existential dread into a swirling landscape. Egon Schiele would contort the line of the body to express psychological fracture. They all inherit Courbet's core revelation, that the most valid subject for modern art is the authentic, often uncomfortable, state of the human psyche. He gave them permission to be brutally honest. The final, most powerful clue is this: Courbet kept this painting until his dying day. Through fame, scandal, imprisonment, and exile in Switzerland, it remained with him. In a world that constantly asked him to compromise, the desperate man was his unchanging mirror. It was the foundational emotion from which all his later confidence and rebellion grew. As he said, "I have written the story of my life." This was the first and most crucial sentence. So, what do we see when we look at him? A failed artist? A genius in gestation? Or simply a man terrified of being insignificant? Courbet, the great realist, offers no comforting answer. He offers only the evidence, painted with fearless urgency. He challenges us not just to see his despair, but to recognize the part of it that lives silently within us.